It appears I lied to you. I said I'd be right back to you. 24 hours has elapsed. So I'm trying my best to get these videos done. I simply ran out of time yesterday. But all we have left now are the stables, and we're going to run through the turnouts real quick. There's only a few horses still turned out. Cruising in Style is going to be out till Christmas in Ohio. Dance Hall Babe, we're going to leave her out actually till Christmas now. She's out in Caledonia, I believe. Our blacksmith Felix owns a third of her with Phil Neufeld and I, and Georgia, one of our grooms, owns a share of her also. And we opted to turn her out at a farm where Felix uses a farm that Felix uses in Caledonia. So she's out. We're gonna leave her out till Christmas also. The Lawmaker's gonna stay out till at least February. Gonna give him lots of time off. Springbridge Proud, I would suspect, is coming back soon. Trying to get a hold of Ronnie. It's tough sometimes, but we'll have an update for you at some point in the near future. If there was anything wrong, we certainly would have known. But unfortunately, this is what you have a big operation like Ron Burke's stable, and it's very difficult to get information sometimes. But that's the way it is. If you're gonna have, a lot of horses spread over a lot of barns in a lot of states, it's gonna be difficult sometimes, and I certainly don't begrudge him. We'll get some updates for you soon enough. Stonebridge Simba, I'm going to get Andrew to draw the health papers on him, and we'll bring him back right away. White Tiger, he'll be coming back. I'm looking at a January 1st return. That's it. It's all the horses that are still out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, 6 or 7 horses are still out, and they'll all be back in the coming weeks and months. The only horse that will be out for a long period of time is Lawmaker. Wanted to give him time after the Breeders' Crown, the Hamiltonian. Had a tough year, that colt. He got injured twice, come back, and I don't know what he ended up making. I know he's approaching 400,000, which is mostly U.S. In his life. So it's been a good horse for us. He's going to get all the time he wants, and we all know, truthfully speaking, I haven't spoke out about this very much, but the transition from 3-year-old stake colt to 4-year-old open horse, very tough one to make. So we're not going to wade right into the deep waters. We're going to try and hide Lawmaker a little bit and let him mature into that 4-year-old speed. I would suspect we'll probably try and have his first start May, June, somewhere around there, maybe even a little later. Pick our spots. If there's not a class readily available in Ontario he can do in, then we're simply going to send him out. And we're going to pick our spots with Lawmaker and let him transition into a 4-year-old easily. There's no expectations here. I expect he'll be a very, very good horse. He can race on any size track. So, the money situation, the way it is disseminated in horse racing, I would suspect he'll probably find his way to Yonkers at some point. But no expectations with this guy, and certainly no rush. Looking at a February return to the barn for Lawmaker, maybe even a little later. But that is all the turnouts. So I guess we probably should stop this segment, as I'm going to bounce right into the 3 barns and get them done for you. So as of right now, the only horses still in the field are Dance Hall Babe, Lawmaker, Springbridge Proud, Stonebridge Simba, White Tiger. Oh, wow, that's 5. I had our Vic on Bay Jewel on here, but they come back. Make sure they're on these lists. Yes. They come back yesterday, I believe. So we're just watching some horses jog here. I see Maintenance Man out jogging this morning. Looks good. Anyway, be right back in a minute. I will get all the stables run through. Kevin, Jason, and Harry's stable. Sadly, my stable has dried up. I sent Dewey Ann up to Harry's. She'll qualify simply because we had grooms coming in, and the horses weren't back in time. So the groom was short a horse. We pay per horse for our grooms. Obviously, Christmas is coming, and I want to make sure they get good care. So I was planning on doing Quartz Blue Chip and Dewey Ann, but Quartz Blue Chip's going to qualify this week. Dewey Ann's going to school this week. Again, Dewey Ann schooled in 2.5 the other day. I'll get into all this in a minute, but very happy with what I saw from them. And then we will have some more horses qualified very soon. So that's it. My barn was short-lived. My racehorse barn, it was a week, but it worked out well. Quartz Blue Chip schooled very well, and so did Dewey Ann the other day. They'll be qualifying and schooling again this week. And that leaves me with 0 racehorses. So, be back in a minute with Kevin, Harry, and Jason's barn for all of you in just a second. All three barns here at the stable have been a little dormant throughout the fall. It's been a little dry, a little tough, because we had our best 2-year-olds turned out. We haven't got our 2-year-olds back yet. We were just racing horses, you know, the likes of Gelona and who else? Fan the Flames, and then there's lots of them to race, but lots more coming. We have over 20 horses to qualify soon. One of them right now ready to qualify is American League. Kevin, this is Kevin's barn. American League qualified or schooled in 2 minutes the other day. We had 3 horses in the schooler. He beat all 3 of them, or he beat the other 2, and looked very, very good doing it. 1 mile in 2 minutes off a half, and probably 102. Looked very, very good. Kevin goes, geez, you know, the way he picks at himself, I'd love to keep him on a big track. He's a small horse. He might be able to do in the 12 claimer. You know, if we get him in, if we get him back fresh and he qualifies strong, maybe we could race him in a 12 claimer in Mohawk. That would be a fantastic fit for him. I don't think he'll be able to do the straight now when there's a 2. They don't have a condition claimer written out Mohawk, I don't believe. If we have to take him to the B tracks, we will. He's won at Flamborough, raced well at London, but his gait he chews at where their hocks are. Inside their hock, like if they're trotting, up here inside their hock is called the jack. The top of the jack, the bottom of the hock is the jack, and the top of the leg. He hits up on his jack, and some trotters do. Fan the Flames does quite a bit, and this guy does too. And they'll do it usually in the middle of the turns, going into the turns, coming out of the turns. Straightaways are good. So obviously, if we could accommodate him with a little bigger track, it would help. But he races just fine on a smaller track also. So we'll see. We'll see how he qualifies on Thursday. Art Seeker's getting very, very close. I'd love to tell you how much Kevin has been with him. He trained a bunch of them in the bike the other day. I know how a lot of them went, but I did not ask him about Art Seeker. He will be back very, very soon and ready to go. One horse that did train like a beast is Be My Delight. Be My Delight trained at Campbellville in 2-1 the other day. And was very, very good. I just caught the end of it. My God, she's a beautiful little filly to watch go. It's a filly, it's well bred. She was trained down to 2 minutes, and then the very night that Lawmaker got cast, this filly got cast also. Maybe they were up to some shenanigans, but no, she got cast, and we gave her the summer off, and it's really done wonders for her. She looks great. Kevin loves her. Better Call Mike trained right here in 2-4. I suspect he'll school on Thursday. Again, I say I suspect and I don't know because I would have qualified them already, but Kevin likes to take his time. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's, as they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and that's a terrible saying, isn't it? Meaning, there's more than one way to race a horse and take care of a horse, and Kevin likes to have his horses really tight and really ready to go, and I know that he's been a couple of times in 2-4 with Better Call Mike, so I suspect Mike will be schooling on Thursday. Buckingham, our Book the Bet, is back now, just jogging. She's going to be taking her time, getting back, I would suspect, first part of the year. She'll be back January 1st, 2019. Book the Bet will be back. Buckingham, she won't be back January 1st. She's back jogging now, but we're looking for a March debut for Buckingham. One of our fillies from last year took a mark of 156 and made just under 20,000. I know this because we have her full sister right here in the barn, half sister right here in the barn. So you'll meet her full sister over the next month or so. She's a good-looking filly also. I like her very much. And Buckingham will be back in March. Also, cruising with... Now, there's 2 horses here. Told a little bit of a Fibberooski. Boldness and Cash In On Me, I do have, but I think we've made the decision we're going to sell both of them. So they're kind of in limbo. Yes, they're in our barn. The gentleman that works with the babies is jogging them, but putting in time until we get them sold. We have a couple of more horses that are going up for sale or are up for sale that are racing. So I think what I might do is go on gate next week and just make an auction for those 2 horses, unless somebody comes up with, you know, honestly speaking, Cash On Me is a giant black horse. The Amish should be all over this guy, but I'm not seeking out. I've called a couple of Amish people, like, yeah, they try and lowball you, you know. Oh, geez, we're not really looking for horses right now. Okay, good. A couple of people are looking for horses, and we'll be able to get Boldness and Cash In On Me sold. It might take a week, because I know what they're worth, so it might take a week. And then also, Sally DeVee has been on the sale board for a while, and I'm really floored. I'm surprised. This is a filly that can pace in 56, 55. She paced in 54, I think, once. She's out of a sister to foaled again. And she is a nice mare, and she's going to get better. She's getting sounder every time she was on the track. Jared Bothwell has her. The reason he has her is because she's in the pool up there. Her knees and feet bother her, so we opted to take her off the track in between and just swim her. And she's been racing great. Now, her last 2 starts, she drew 9 and 10 in Woodbine, so what are you going to do? So these 2 horses, a couple other ones, we might have a little dispersal sale on Gate and Standard Canada, and wherever we get the most money is where we're going to go. So Boldness and Cash In On Me, they're on Kevin's list, but they're not in Kevin's barn. I have them down in Shed Row 6. So next is Cruise In with Angus. Wow, I wouldn't have believed it if Kevin told me. Now this track's a little short of a half, so they have, if you notice, the 3 poles at the start when they train: start, finish, start, half, finish, because it's just a little bit short. And if you train down on the inside, it's even shorter. Now, Kevin went a mile in 1:59 and 3 with Cruising with Angus the other day. Even if you say the track's short, you're down on the inside, let's say you went a mile in 2:2. That's a big mile over this track. Cruising with Angus looked incredible. This is a horse that has always held a little bit of a special spot in my heart. I had his mother. She did me nothing but good, and I was extremely happy when I saw Cruising with Angus train. Kevin loves this horse. Jesus, I would assume he's going on Thursday either to school or qualify, but he is ready to go. Dancing at Midland was 3rd in both his starts back that I drove him. The other night I thought he should have won, but he got down on the inside and he flattened out at the wire, and I was a little mad. But after I left, the groom had texted me and said, Danson's coughing a little bit. He was just trying to get over that virus that he had, so there might be some residual redness and irritation in his throat. So I suspect Kevin will treat him. There's another horse that, although he's racing good, nobody's buying any mansions with the proceeds from Dancing at Midland. At some point, we're probably going to sell this guy too. You know, he was a good 2-year-old we had a lot of aspirations and high hopes for him at 3, and just didn't come to fruition, but that's the way racing is. So probably Dancing at Midland will be probably being sold too at some point. Dancing on My Own, she's ready to go. Kevin trained her in 2-4 here with Better Call Mike. Both looked really good. He's really, really high in this filly now. She looks good. Last year she was long and a little bit lean, a little cranky at times. She's packed some weight on. She's filled out really good. She looks good. This filly is pretty near ready to go. Heart 8 is back in and jogging now. She looks good. Holding steady. I know Kevin trained him in 2-4, I think. Don't quote me, it might have been faster. I think he trained him in 2-4, and he's been very, very happy with him. He likes him. This is obviously Rock and Ron's brother, who had a pretty good year, won his first stake race out in Illinois, and then come back with some good races also throughout the year. As they picked up speed and he grew into that giant frame into the summer, it got a little more difficult for him. But now that he's filled out better as a 3-year-old, tucked up a little bit, I suspect he'll be a good 3-year-old for us, and he'll probably make his first few starts at Woodbine, and then later in the year head back out to Illinois. But good-looking horse, well-bred, got high hopes for, holding steady also. If I Knew Susie, she got locked in the other day. Never get out yet if you're a wagering man, and she I don't know what she drew this week, or if she's in. I suspect she's in Friday again. They drew today, that's why I don't know. If she looks like she got a reasonable class, I'd say she's probably sitting on a win the way she raced last week. She never got an inch of racing room right through the wire. I think she'll be sharp and probably ready to go this Friday. Candy Mac, trained him in 2-4 also. A little pacey here, I saw him the other day, but he just got him shod. And I had told him after, I said, he used to do that. His feet bother him. Track was hard the other day when he trained him, and you could tell he got a little pacey. So I said, you're just going to have to keep an eye on his paws, so to speak. But Candy Mac, ready to go also. Majesty Boy, another one ready to go. I don't know how fast he went with him the other day, but I know he trained him in 2-7 last week because I was with him. Horse looked good. Come back good. He goes, geez, he's got a great attitude. I said, well, that was great, because the biggest thing he had wrong with him last year was his attitude. Little cranky, kind of not really sure if he wanted to do his work. The fact that he's doing it now is fantastic. Master Saver schooled so-so the other day. Just so-so. I watched him train here. He trained like a freight train. I think he just had an off day the other day. Now, there's a lot of virus floating around the barn. As you know, we scratched 6 horses in the last 3 weeks because of sickness. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Master Saver was a little under the weather. Wasn't super thrilled with the way he schooled, but he's sitting on a big qualifier, I suspect. I suggest he'll probably qualify in this week. If he wanted to school him once more, I wouldn't be sad. It's fine with me. And then my boy, Road Tripper, I trained him right here in 2 minutes. The other day, we trained Cruising with Angus and Road Tripper together. Now, Road Tripper is not what you would call a half-mile specialist. He had no hobbles on and did his work very, very well. This is a horse that he's safe for quite a while. I love this horse. I always have. I've always spoken highly of him, and I always will, because he's a worker. And old Dump Truck is safe for quite a while, just like driving them. I like sitting behind horses that are trying their hardest all the time. It's just a great he's just a great horse that tries really hard. So Road Tripper, that's it for Kevin's barn. He has 1, 2, every horse he has is qualifying except for Buckingham and Heart 8. Qualifying or ready to qualify in the next 2 weeks. So Kevin's going to have a busy winter. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll count Buckingham, the other one for now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He's got like 17 horses. 15 of them are qualified in the next 2 weeks. So Kevin is having a good start to the winter, and it looks like he's going to have a good winter by the list in front of me. So that's Kevin's barn. I'll be right back in a minute with Harry's barn and Jason's barn. We are back here with Harry's barn. Now, Harry has asked me with Autumn Wings. He said, just give me some time with Autumn Wings. Don't rush me. He said, this filly, we all know she can fly. We all know she's good. Let's do it right so that there's no questions left unanswered, which he's correct. That's exactly what I want to see. So Autumn Wings will be ready. I'd say January 15th should be ready to go a big mile. Harry's been in 25 a bunch of times, whether he's going to scoot her down to maybe 15 this year, or this week. Obviously, we qualified this filly, so she's already been there. Done that, and just now a matter of time of hoping she's matured and getting her back in action. Bay Jewel made her way back in. This affiliate had a disappointing 2-year-old year for me. I think that there was a lot that went into that 2-year-old season being the way it was. Hopefully she can overcome this and start back here in the next... I'd love to start racing this filly in the middle of January, but we'll wait and see. She's only been off maybe a month, 5 weeks. But we will bring her back accordingly. So Bay Jewel back going now. Dewey Ann went from Kevin's barn to my barn over to Harry's barn. The reason I did that was Kevin was full. Harry's groom needed a horse to take care of, and I had schooled her the other day in 2:05. Coming off in a minute, much better. Starting to look good again. Still a little hikey in the turns, a little out of gear. Where obviously there's a lot up in the air with Dewey Ann, right? Do we breed her this spring? Do we race her? If she races, where are we going to race her? Can she get around a half good now? Can she race at the big track now? A lot of questions swirling around in regards to Dewey Ann. Why does that look weird? I don't know. Then we got Fan the Flames. Freddie came out, raced great for James's first start, raced horrible for Anthony, his second start, and then raced great again the other night for James. Now, when I drove him, track was a little sticky. I don't think he was on top of his game, and he wore big bar shoes behind and lighter shoes up front. We went the other way after I drove him. I said, I don't think he's going to get through. I don't think he's going to get through the softer footing. So with these bar shoes and stuff on, I think what we need to do is just put a normal set of shoes on him behind. He runs down behind, and I'd said this to you guys in another video about sometimes things happen. I said sometimes when you watch the videos in the slow motion, it almost looks like the horse's hind ankles hit the ground. Sometimes they do, and in Freddie's case, they do. We had a bar shoe on him trying to stand him up, but sometimes they slide a little bit more, and the night I drove him, the track was a little sticky. I think he was sliding a bit. I just don't think he could put out. So we took all that bars and stuff off him behind, just put a normal shoe on him, wrapped him up real good behind for some support and protection, and he was much better. Second and 58. Luckily, he was a winner coming out of the turn. James ended up second with him, but he makes money. He's he's not a huge earner, but at the same time, he's getting better all the time, and that was one of his better miles the other day. Leave, sit, remove to the front, and then get picked off by the favorite. I thought he raced pretty good. Final Answer, back going now. Still a little bumpy at times. I said to Harry, I think we're going to take him over to the vet tomorrow. A couple of horses I just want to get checked out, make sure they're okay. Final Answer is one of them. Obviously, starting back, we want to make sure we start on the right foot. This guy's always had kind of a clumsy gait, going slow anyway. So it's hard to say if if it's his gait or whether he has some issues. If he has some issues, we want to fix him up. This is a horse that, you know, he proved himself last year. He didn't make a ton of money, but he showed a lot of desire. Won a stake race, raced well throughout the year. Probably would have won 4 stake races had he not made a couple of breaks. Just a nice horse. So final answer, we're going to get him looked at, make sure he's okay. But he's back jogging now. You probably won't see him train until January. No need to have him ready before March. That's when the stakes start in April. No need before March. Just a Tad. Something happened with Just a Tad I haven't seen in a long time. We had him gelded about 2 months ago. Obviously, they cut the testicles, and he got infected. Usually when you get horses, and from time to time, that's obviously an area that can get dirty, they'll get infected, but you'll see the infection. You'll see swelling in the scrotum area. And, you know, you have to flush it and clean it and put him on antibiotics. And his infection kind of went upwards, and he began getting lame left hind, and but he didn't show any swelling, so it was because it was all up inside. And Harry trained him, said he's lame. I trained him in 210. He was okay, not wow worthy. We took him over and got him fluoroscoped. They said there's some swelling on that left stifle area and up in the hip area. So obviously, you know, I wouldn't think it's because of the castration that took place 5 weeks before. I said, oh, he must have got cast. So we left him in a stall and put him on bute for a couple of days. He was lame. He didn't stop eating. He never spiked the temperature. So you're still not thinking infection. When we had him fluoroscoped, it ended up he had an OCD in his right ankle. So I said, I guess in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going to have to take that. I own the vast majority, 98%. Greg Schoner and I own the horse. I own 98% of Just a Tad. So I said, in for a penny, in for a pound. I guess we're going to take that OCD out. I guess we're going to see if he's going to be a nice horse or not. And lo and behold, Harry said he's lame left hind. The OCD's in the right ankle. So the vet thought that because he was a little off right hind that he was taking weight on his left hind. That's where the swelling came from. Still, no thought would make you there'd be no reason to think it was that castration. So sure enough, I said, well, draw his blood. Because Harry had said, Harry and I were talking, he goes, do you think it could be the castration? I said, well, it's not. Then there was a tiny bit of swelling, tiny bit in the scrotum. I said, well, it's worth looking at. I said, draw his blood. His white count and his neutrophils are up. You know, there's infection there somewhere. Sure enough, drew his blood. His white count was through the roof. His neutrophils were high. Sent him up to the university, and she said they'd lance it. Oh, she said it was so disgusting that one of the girls that works there almost threw up. That was her words, not mine. This is surgeon. So, not that threw up, but that was telling me about the girl that works there. So, he's back jogging now. Of course, with that cut there, you have to move him. So, he jogs twice a day. We'll see how he comes out of it. Maybe I won't take the OCD. Lots of horses have had OCDs in their hind ankles. He's never really shown me a lot right hind, being off right hind before. So, I was a little surprised when the vet said right hind OCD. If we have to take it out now, we will, but maybe we'll luck out and we won't. So, Just a Tad's back jogging. He was getting close to being ready to go before I would suggest when this heals, he'll be ready to start training and going again. So, he's on the track back, so to speak. Lima's son, everybody's wondering about Lima's son, at least the people that own pieces of him or the people that see him. Who's that? You know, he's just such a good-looking horse. He obviously had a significant injury last year to a hind leg. We gave him almost the whole year off. Brought him back. He's been training great here. He's been in 14. He said 4 more training trips, I think, and then he's ready to go. Before we actually, you know, push the button and pull the trigger on him, I think we should get that leg scanned, because what happens is horses like him that try real hard and want to do their work, you might see it. He wouldn't let you know it, and he'd work through it, but there might be still a tiny tear in there. So we want to get a full look at that leg and make sure that, although the rate of re-injury is very high, it's a hind suspensory, rate of re-injury is extremely high for horses with hind suspensories, trotters especially. You know, you can combat that best you can by making sure this ligament is as good as it's going to be and ready to go when you race them. And lots of horses have raced with hind suspensories. It just, I would suspect the reason that the rate of re-injury is so high is because people don't take the time to make sure. They look at them and say, yeah, he's ready to go. You need to look closer. And I think before we really push on the gas, we're going to take him over and get him ultrasounded to make sure that he is indeed ready to go. So that is Lima's son. Lincoln James come up with another huge mile the other night. He won in London 2 weeks ago. Then he came out swinging at Flamborough the other night, first over. Small field, but it didn't matter whether it was 8 or 18 in there. He got away third, came first over, got picked off by the favorite coming behind him. 154 flat this time of year. Freezing cold night in Flamborough. Big mile for Lincoln James. Really, really happy with what we've seen. Obviously, if this guy can stay on the B tracks and be as effective as it looks like he's going to be, we're going to have a lot more fun with him. So Lincoln James was great his last two. I suspect that trend will continue. Linnea, she's almost ready to go. I think Harry said schooling Thursday maybe, or next Thursday. She's pretty well ready to go. This is a filly we had high hopes for. 2, she showed incredible flashes of speed, but couldn't shake that sickness and allergies, and no allergies this time of year. We should be able to. We vaccinated her. We're going to work very hard on her. Hopefully we can get her back good and stay good. I said to Harry, I said, listen, it's as simple as this. Just put her in every week where she is going to win. Not where she might, not where she could, where she will. And we'll probably start her off in a maiden non-winners a 2, or maybe even a condition claimer with this allowance. In a 15 claimer, to claim her, you'd have to pay $30,000. So I think she's safe there also. We got a lot of options with this filly and a lot of places to go with her. Maintenance Man's back jogging now. He's been back 4 or 5 days. Looks great. I said I just saw him on the track jogging. He looked phenomenal. Looks very good. Maxwell Plum, another one. He's almost ready to go. Harry said first of the year. I would have argued with him, but this horse also had a tiny injury left hind. Want to make sure that he's 100%. Looks 100%. Going to make sure he's 100%. Old Maxie looks great right now. Ready for the beach, ready to qualify. He's another one like Linnea. Put him in where he can win all winter long. Screaming Hawk has started back training. He won't be ready until early spring. No rush with this guy. This guy's a horse that I suspect is a stake colt, and we're going to treat him as such. Sunshine's Finest, a little bit behind Linnea, but closing in. She's getting closer. Linnea's ready to go now. Sorry, I said that. Sunshine's Finest. Sunshine's Finest. I always get them mixed up. It's the colt that pays 51, not the filly that didn't. Sunshine's Finest is back jogging. I saw him out in the track at the same time as Maintenance Man. He looks great, as you can imagine. Always had that little pitter-patter kind of way about him, but he had his ears up playing around, and looks good. So Sunshine's Finest is back jogging. Sunshine In, who I thought we were talking about, is a little bit behind Linnea. She also was a filly with lots of speed that also had some serious issues with allergies and sickness last year. This is another filly that we've put on a list. We're going to be very aggressive with her, vaccinating and treating her for as far as sickness goes. Never fails. Everybody wants to call me when I'm doing the videos. So that's Sunshine In. The Butler did it. Harry's trained him twice now. He's starting training down towards the races. His feet bother him. We have some special shoes on him, just egg bar shoes on him. To help with that. Actually, no, I'm wrong. We switched him from an egg bar to a flip-flop. I remember Harry talking about it the other day. So he's good. The problem is, until you get him in a regular routine where he's training hard and he's just starting to look good, he's going to be shifting weight from that front end where his feet bother him a little bit to the back end, which is going to put a little pressure and get a little soreness in that hind end. So it's all about building up his muscle, making him strong, but not potentially injuring him along the way. So the Butler did it, trained twice now. He's going to continue to train down. Harry was very, very happy with him the other day. This is a colt that we switched from get him in, get him racing, and get some wins on his card to he actually looks really good. Let's take our time and make sure that we give him every opportunity we can. Next, Too Far Gone. She's almost ready to go. She is opposite. Harry said, can I have till January? I said, no, you may not have till January with Too Far Gone. Too Far Gone is owned vastly by me, and she's trained in 210, 29. She's ready to go, and we'll probably school within the next 10 days. We Ultra, our big girl, she's back with us now, back jogging. I saw her on the track a couple of times. She looks great. Filled out a little bit, sprouted up as much as you thought she would. Couldn't ask for anything more than what we've seen from We Ultra. She looks good and ready to go, and that is Harry's barn. Harry has won in the next 3 weeks. Harry has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, Quartz Blue Chips here too. 11 horses to qualify in Harry's barn. It's not actually, Quartz Blue Chip has been and also eligible for quite a while. She was at a place right now where I'm like, okay, you got to do something, or we're going to have some serious conversations about whether we're going to have to sell you or not. Obviously, I wasn't talking to the horse because they don't speak English, but I was talking to Kevin. Kevin sent her down to me. We trained her a couple of times last week. Trained her once last week. Then we schooled her. James went with her. I said, here's the scoop. You go in 2-2, I'll give you $50, but you got to do it the right way. So he got away at the back, and she come charging down the lane past me, Kevin, another horse, past 3 or 4 horses down the lane. Come last quarter in 28 apiece, won a mile, 2, 4, and 3. So James did not get his $50. But I said, how was she? He said, really good. I said, nobody's been super optimistic about Quartz for a little bit. I said, so. He said, honestly, she was good. I said, okay, put her into qualify next week, and you can go with her. So James will be qualifying Quartz Blue Chip on Thursday. It's not that I don't like this filly. It's that her attitude is always in question, right? I told you how much I love going with horses like Road Tripper because they want to do more. They want to please, and they want to do more. Quartz Blue Chip, she just does what she wants, and that's the way it is. So lots of horses before her that were good horses did the same, but frustrating when they have a bad day. They have a bad day, and you have a bad day. So Quartz Blue Chip ready to go. She's going to qualify. I'm looking at 23 without even Jason's Barn yet that are ready to go in the next 3 weeks. So we'll be back in just a minute with Jason's Barn also. He has a lot going on. Boston Glide was a winner last week. We'll talk about that. A lot of horses training down. A lot going on here, and actually a lot more horses ready to qualify than even I thought. So we'll be back in just a minute with Jason's Barn. Well, we are back. We're finishing up now. I got the opening done. I got talked about who we hired done. I got all the babies done. My 2 cents of how they look to me is done. And got Kevin's barn, Harry's barn done. I'm going to do Jason's barn and call it a wrap. So we're going to start off Jason's barn with a Vicka. We stopped with her a little bit early last year because she was growing. She's back going now. And somebody said, why do we have her back going already? Well, we had her ready to go in June. Stopped with her because we wanted to have her ready for the fall. We tried to get her ready for the fall. She wasn't great, so we missed the stake races. Then she won a race. Then we went to race her and she made a break. And when I went to look at her after the break, her butt was huge, way up in the air. She's going to be a big girl. She needed time, so we turned her out. You know, there's no real reason to continue to stop and stop and stop. She has to keep going also. So although the timing isn't perfect, it's not like there's any stake races in December and January. We do want to get some experience into this filly and get her moving in the right direction. She should be a Mohawk horse, and I expect her to get there. So she is back now, jogging with Jason. She'll be probably starting training in 3 weeks' time. So Arvika's back. Boston Glider, boy, won the last week. I told you that I liked Boston Glide. I always did. I retained a share of him. I bought somebody out of him earlier in the fall, and I was very, very happy. Obviously, I was a little unhappy that I didn't get to drive him, but those were the circumstances. Family first. And I found out my wife, her blood work did not come back good, and she was at the hospital, so I left. I left after race 2, and he won race 7. So James did a great job with him. He's going to drive him again this week. And somebody said to me, Thursday, Jason put me down to drive his horse. Fan the Flames is into going, I'm not driving him. So I'm not driving our horses, but I'm driving his. And I said, Jason has one horse on the side, Hoboken, Hanover. And he goes, did you not tell Harry that you'd be there? I said, no. I told Harry to put Jason on the horse, or put James on the horse. He drove him. He raced good. There's no need for me to drive him. He can drive him just fine. So I'm going to drive Hoboken, Hanover. So Boston Glide, James did a great job, and I told Jason, I said, just put James on the horse again. I don't need to drive him. So now that James gets along with him, won with him his last start, he's going to actually have to start moving up. But, you know, this is a well-bred horse. I don't have to tell you that. You know, a Yankee Glide out of a sister to Sandpail. Yeah, he's meant to be a good horse. He's got a great-looking body on him. Big, long colt. We tried to qualify him without hobbles on. It didn't go over well. So we qualified him back with the hobbles on. Eventually, he'll race with no hobbles, just not right now. So Boston Glide, fantastic. Great job. Jason won with the horse last week. Casanova's Jewel, there's my boy. He looked good the other day. You trained him. He said, I trained him the other day. I said, no rush with this guy, eh? Put work into him, but make sure he's comfortable on the track. Make sure he's sound. Just need to have him ready for March. So Casanova's Jewel, no rush with him. Very happy with what I saw. Canale Hanover, here's a horse that was one of our, something in my eye, was one of our big three last year. Lawmaker, Cruising in Style, and Canale Hanover. You remember that? As a 2-year-old, he was second in a track record in Philadelphia in 55. Won a stake race in the meadows, in the mud, and really thought we were sitting on a good horse coming back at 3. Man, oh man, did he ever fall apart. He was horrendous all year, to the point where we just stopped with him. And one of my friends, Eric, owned an original owner in the horse, was buying shares up, and he said, what do you think? I said, I'm going to turn him out. And he said, what's wrong with him? I said, nothing. He's terrible. I can't foresee racing him somewhere he could win, and there doesn't appear to be any physical ailments. So either he's no good right now, or there's something we're missing. There's something that can't be seen. I said, so we're going to turn him out. So we did. We turned him out for 2.5 months, brought him back. I qualified him the other day in 2 minutes at Flamborough. He looked good, looked real good, that horse. So 2 minutes at Flamborough, a good mile for Canale Hanover. Really happy with what I saw from him. He's ready to go. Curious Winner, ready to school on Thursday. Another horse that's on the bubble. He's got to come forward, and I know he can, but he's another one of those horses who'll put forth about an 80% effort 100% of the time. So great gait, well bred. He's a cousin of Lawmaker also, but he's got to show it. So he is ready to go now. Delcrest Star Angel is going to be turned out. She's not on the turnout list yet. She's going to be turned out for a couple of months. This is a filly, smart, trying to do her work best she can. She's just too big. She's as big as any horse we have. And I'm just going to turn her out for a good 2 months and let her grow up. She's already proven she understands. You put her nose right on the gate. She left out the other night. She allowed me to drop her in the hole. She followed as best she could, and she got tired. So she knows what she's out there to do. Let's turn her out. Let her grow up. Let her be the filly she needs to be. And that's the thing, is that some people, you know, it's hard to understand that these horses aren't machines, and they do need to go out sometimes. They do need time off. They do need to just relax sometimes. They're athletes, and they can't go all the time. And Delcrest Star Angel is an athlete, but she needs time off to grow now. And she's going to get it. So she's going to be going out to the field for 2 months. Horse that got some time off once and it didn't work, and then got it off the second time and it did. Happy holidays. She raced great the other night, finished second in 56, I think, at Flamborough. Raced great. She's been racing great, 2 seconds and a third, or a second and 2/3 since she's come back in 3 starts. Racing good. Drew the 9 hole, which is the trailing post at Flamborough Thursday. Ivanka, she's back jogging, looks great. This filly really sprouted up. She is a big, big girl now. I told Jason, have her ready for February, March. We'll race her a few times here, and then when the stakes start in Illinois, then she can go out there. But I have every belief that she'll be just fine right here in Ontario when we race her. Gelona threw up a second last night in London, a win last week. She's really found herself in that 85 claimer. She's got a lot of allowance attached to her, so might be able to jam her for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks till the new year comes. She loses her 4-year-old allowance as a filly and mare trotter. So it's December 11th. We're going to have probably 2, maybe 3 more starts with her in that 85, and I would suspect as soon as that allowance comes off, she'll be heading out the door with somebody else. That's Gelona. Oso Pine, probably one of the best horses in Ohio last year, 2-year-old trotting colts. We had some good ones, didn't we? Yes, Oso Pine, West 52nd. Oso Pine looked great all year. He bled in the middle of the end of the summer. I would suspect it had a lot to do with allergies, but he bled. Put him on Lasix, raced him his first start, which was the final back, and he was so-so, finished 4th, but raced well. Got jammed up in the last turn a little bit, I think. Yes, he did. And come back in Delaware, second start on Lasix, beat a half a length in 57 in the Breeders' Championship down there. Just a nice horse, real nice horse, going to be a nice horse. Oh So Pine is back and going now, just jogging. Mystical Mission was third his last start at Mohawk, got jammed up and shuffled back a little bit. Again, another horse, if you're a wagering person out there, you might want to keep a close eye on. Mystical Mission, his next start. I think he'll be very good. Not an Angel. Not an Angel's back going, also a filly that I held in very high regard last year. Had a little bit of an injury when she went out to Illinois. Angie and Rob did a great job with both those fillies, keeping them together, allowing them to grow, somehow having them tight enough and fresh enough for the final and the consolation. Ivanka won the consolation in Illinois, and Not an Angel was second in the final. Very good year with her also. Real Willie was claimed last week, so he's not on the list anymore. Pay the Line Blue Chip's back going. Qualified her the other day. Jason's I was gonna send her up to Jared, and then I realized I own almost all of her. Own almost all of her. So paying a board on a condition claim or a full board bill, tough thing to do. If she can stay sound here, she'll race here. If she can't, she'll have to go into the pool up there and probably sell her at some point, I guess. I love this filly, but what are you going to do? You can't keep them all. Stolen Dance was really sick for about 10 days. She was getting ready to go. I had trained her in 2.6 at Mohawk, and she looked good. She was ready to start going again. She gets sick. So we will probably school her this Thursday, I would suspect. I'm not qualifying her until she can trot in 58 because she's well bred, and I'd rather not have poor qualifying lines on a broodmare. I'd rather just have her not race, I suppose. So I suspect she'll be ready to go in 58 probably in a month. So we're going to school her 2 or 3 times and then put her in to qualify, I would suspect. Stonebird's Loyal, today is Tuesday. She's in to go tonight with the rail. I suspect that will be a good thing. A shorter field with the rail. Stonebird's Loyal has come back really, really good. We just scratched her first start. Obviously, she was sick. But other than that, she has been great. Very, very good. Twinsburg's back now. Her and Osopine arrived Sunday night from Ohio, where they were turned out. Both look great. Filled out good. Big now. Really big. So, Twinsburg, very happy that I see for her. And our boy, West, 52nd, is back also. He landed last week. He's been jogging. Looks great. This horse, should have been tired his last start. Just looked like he was getting going, right? It just looked like he was just starting to do work. This is a worker, a very fast horse, very strong horse, and he finally got his head screwed on. It just took him all year to do it, but he picked a good night to do it. It was consolation. They went for 60,000. He obliterated them. We gave him all the time off, brought him back. He is starting back jogging now. So that's it. That's all of the Burns, all of them. Jason's, Harry's, and Kevin's. Jason's, Harry's, and Kevin's. Talked about the yearlings, talked about the open house, talked about our big hire, and everything going on with that. So you're all up to date. You got to see the open house. It was a great show, fantastic show. Freezing cold, and we had like almost 300 people here from 10 states. 10 states in the U.S. People get in their car and cross the border to come and watch their horses when they could have watched them online. Just a great feeling. So for all of you that traveled here, I hope you had a great time. It was great having you. For everybody that showed up from here, thank you for coming out. It's great to see you also. It was a great day had by all accounts. So very happy. Our next open house obviously is Mother's Day, as it is every year. May 12th, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this year. So, for me and everybody here, thank you for the open house. Thank you for coming out. I hope you had a great time. We certainly did. It was a lot of fun. Got some good-looking horses again this year. A little too early to say we got some killers or whatnot, but we got some nice horses. And I was very, very happy. I went back and watched some of the replays last night. I didn't realize how good some of them looked until I don't want to name drop here at the end, but very happy. If you didn't, take your time and go back and look at some of the videos and actually see how good some of these horses looked. I was floored, and I see them every day. So, take care. We'll be back again with a drone before the holidays, and obviously say hi to my wife. If you want to, send her an email, Amy Mac, MAC 2012 2012 at gmail.com. Send her a little note because she's sitting in the hospital and nobody wants to be here this time of year. So anyway, for me and Amy and everybody else at the stable, thanks for everything. Thanks again. Talk soon.